Hey YouTubers, welcome to Can't Cook with Jason. Today we're going to get hot and sweaty by making beef ho fun noodles. Make sure you stick around and I'll show you my top tip to turn a cheap rump steak into something super tender and velvety meat. Beef ho fun is a super popular dish, idolized as part of dim sum or yam ta, which is a Chinese tradition with lots of friends and family. Now let's get ready. Banging and thrashing a wok is compulsory, as is any Chinese profanity. So we're going to start with slicing a white onion a little thicker than usual, as the key to this is flash cooking the onions in a high heat to partially cook them, but retain some bite and texture, whilst allowing some of the natural sweetness of the onion to come through. This creates a great backdrop to cut through the bolder and heavy flavours. Next, we want half a bunch of spring onions, and we're going to prepare them in two different ways. We want to cut some of them into 3 to 4 centimetre lengths so that they're just large enough to not get cooked down during that frying. The rest we can finely slice to either sprinkle on top as a garnish, or if preferred, to be thrown in at the last minute to cook down in the residue heat. Now simply take 250 grams of cheap rump steak and remove as much of the fat and gristle as you can, as this will not cook down or tenderize. Slice this thinly. If you have time, then put the steak in the freezer so it becomes hard, but not frozen, and this makes life much easier when trying to slice thinly. Okay, so most recipes out there suggest expensive ribeye or sirloin or other nice cut of meat. I can assure you that your local takeaway or Chinese restaurant are not using such cuts, but yet you still have a soft, tender and almost velvety texture. So just what is that secret? Oddly, it's nothing more than bicarbonate of soda, that tub that is sitting forlornly in the back of your highest cupboard. Then chuck the beef into a bowl and add in 1 tablespoon of dark soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of light soy sauce for that saltiness, 1 teaspoon of Chinese cooking wine such as Shaoxing Wine, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil for that aromatic taste, a pinch of white pepper, and a teaspoon of that secret ingredient, bicarbonate of soda. Then finally add about a tablespoon of water, which the meat will absorb and really help to plump up. Mix everything really well and set aside for 4 to 5 minutes. Personally, I wouldn't let this sit for any longer than that, as the bicarbonate is pretty strong and it will over tenderize the meat. It may also give the meat a slightly funny taste if left for too long. Now the star of the dish, the rice noodles or ho fun in Cantonese. These are wide and flat noodles made from rice flour and can be found in the refrigerator section of most decent Chinese supermarkets. They also freeze fantastically well, and I found that freezing them and then thawing them when needed create a much better end result, as I think the freezing process must draw out some of the water, which is crucial in the frying process. Another trick is to open the packets and separate the strands of noodles, then place them into a loosely covered bowl in the fridge overnight before using, as again, this will help it dry it out. If you can't find the fresh stuff, then most supermarkets have a Thai or Vietnamese dried version, which you can leave in boiling water to rehydrate. These aren't quite the same or as good, but I have used them in the past as an alternative. Just make sure you don't over soften them, and also to dry them out thoroughly before you use them and throw them into the wok. Woo! Check out this bad boy. Quite possibly one of my most prized kitchen possessions, to the point that I don't let my wife anywhere near it. You can use a frying pan or a non-stick wok for this, but you will not get that unique smoky taste from a carbon steel wok. I have tried for years and years with non-stop pans and even cranking the heat up till dangerously hot, but nada. That unique taste comes from the wok hay or the breath of the wok, and is imparted from the patina that can only be created in a non-stick carbon steel wok. The patina is that hard-earned non-stick coating of oils and seasoning that is built up over time from cooking foods at a high heat and fusing it into the metal to create a natural non-stick coating, but also unrivaled flavour. Now you know why I refuse to let my wife anywhere near it, as she will take a wire brush to it thinking it's burnt on food and literally destroy months, if not years, of hard work. No thank you. Okay, before we start frying, I highly recommend that you put all your ingredients into little bowls or plates and have them near your cooking station. Because once they start, it's going to get fast and it's going to get hectic, and you want everything within easy reach and already separated out. Alright, let's get going. So first, let the wok heat up till it's smoking, literally. Then add 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, don't even try this with olive oil, and swirl it around to coat the wok. And we're going to fry the onions for no more than 2 minutes. Keep them moving so they don't stick. Remember, don't overcook that onion. At this stage, all we're trying to do is cook it just enough so that some of the rawness is taken away from the onion, but we want that sweetness to come through and retain that bite. And then remove once done. Now repeat, let the wok heat up till smoking again, and then add another tablespoon of oil, swirl it around and throw the beef in. Now quickly move it around into a single layer so that it can cook evenly and fry. If the beef is leaking too much water or you added too much of the marinade, then grab some kitchen paper and dab as much liquid as you can. This will allow the beef to fry and not to steam or to boil. Again, no more than 2 to 3 minutes of cooking max, and then remove. It's okay if the beef isn't fully cooked at this stage, because we'll be adding it back into the stir fry later on. Alright, you're a pro now, you know what to do. Crank up that wok, let it smoke, add the oil, and now in with 200 grams of that whole fun. Now quickly stir and toss to avoid it sticking. Then add 1 tablespoon of the dark soy sauce and stir quickly to ensure it's evenly mixed into the noodles. You'll be able to see the colour mix around and the white ho fun will start to turn a darkish brown. Now throw in the spring onions and the pre-cooked white onions and mix around. In with a handful of Beansprouts and then half of that cooked beef, and then mix everything together. Now comes the tricky bit. You want to toss the wok with one hand whilst using your other hand to scrape underneath everything with a spatula, as this allows everything to mix together really well and also stops the noodles from sticking. After 1.5 minutes, it's pretty much done. So drizzle over another half a teaspoon of oil and again toss and mix well to incorporate. The oil gives the dish a deliciously slick coating, and that is key to the eating experience. In total, this stage should take no more than 3 minutes. Add a handful of finely chopped spring onions on top to garnish, and there you have it, one of my all-time favourite dishes, cooked in the comfort of your own home. Alright, if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment, like it, and subscribe please. Now thanks guys, and catch you next week.